Welcome back to the podcast. It's actually quite a good way to like enter and close out, I think. But welcome back
By
to
beeping?
yeah, by
We're not
beeping.
trucks. We're not trucks.
No, but it's a
You
good
don't
way to
beep
like because
because
you
we're
like
backing up.
you don't know whether you're like going into the next one, whether they're swearing, whether you're going out. That you know what I mean? Yeah.
Sorry, if you listen to this, Cass is in a fighting mood today. So,
Yeah.
I am.
if you
I
can
am
ignore her
choosing
sometimes,
violence.
it's fine.
Also,
today,
if you're
1000%.
watching on YouTube, then I have to say apologies if you suffer from epilepsy. Cass's camera might trigger you. I don't know.
I love it.
Yeah, so pre-warning. If you're listening on Spotify and Apple or any other platforms, and you want to come over to YouTube, just be careful. It's a bit extreme, with Cass's face.
Cass's face is definitely extreme. I agree with that.
But anyway, welcome back to two
So
guys
nice.
and the blonde, who I believe is actually going back to blonde soon.
I am. So I bought the next, it's like the color that's lighter than the color I have right now. And so over the next like couple times, I'm going to get lighter and lighter and go back to platinum. It'll be
Platinum.
great for my hair if it doesn't all fall out. It'll be so great.
I'm getting bald already, so mine's falling out in 8 years.
And I've got a luxurious lock of hair.
But you
Just
are
one
divine,
lock of
Scout,
hair.
so don't you dare.
You do have
Okay.
your beard is actually like fire. You're like it's all full in like the spots it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
Pretty nice. I'm not gonna
That's
lie.
what she said also. It's full and all spot. What?
Wow.
Let's continue.
Okay, well.
Already.
On that note, we're going on to our favorite porn. Is that what was it? Oh no. Sorry, favorite TV shows.
Oh, I prepared like an episode on porn, but
Yeah, sorry. I know it's lastminute.com, but I thought porn might not be appropriate. I mean, we can get into it later if we have enough time.
Can I Google if lastminute.com is actually a porn site? I want to now.
No,
that would actually be real. We should make that our website.
So lastminute.com is a website. I can tell you because it's in the UK. It's a holiday website.
Oh, like shopping, right? That makes sense.
Yeah, it's like it's really cheap hotel deals and.
By the way, it would be
flights and whatnot.
It would be good too if it was like what was it? A retirement home.
Yeah.
Lastminute.com.
Also, just want to point out this podcast is not sponsored by lastminute.com.
We wish. So if
they wish to, then I mean, any sponsors we'll welcome. But
lastminute.com is the best site there is if they pay us. Otherwise, it's not good.
Yeah. What? Exactly. I agree.
We lost the sponsor again.
Yeah. Anyway, so we'll keep it to the same sort of standard that we did with movies. Favorite TV show as a kid growing up, and favorite TV show, currently, whatever, past couple of years, as a grown up.
Kid growing up.
I can tell you straight away. So I'll go first whilst you two think.
Fine, go first.
I can tell you what my favorite TV show growing up was, and that was Recess.
My Little Pony.
No, Recess.
Recess is good.
I loved Recess.
Recess. Yeah.
There's a thing at work at the moment where me and one of my colleagues just occasionally, normally once a week, will just suddenly start singing the John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt song.
Oh, that's so good. But this is like the topic where you can really show the difference in country. I was like, as growing up, I may have even Sesame Street. Is that a series?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, it's a TV show.
Definitely a series.
It's a TV show,
yeah. Yeah, Sesame Street with Big Bird. I mean, that was quite.
Yeah, like I was young when that was on. So are we talking like? Because remember with movies, we were talking more like.
Whenever.
Like 10, 11,
I think
something like
Recess
that.
was
You were probably still watching it at that age.
I was going to say, like,
Recess was good.
Yeah, Recess was like, I would guess 12 when I was probably 12 when it came out. It wasn't 12 when I came out. Doesn't work that way.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Although Well, I just thought about it. Of course, Friends would have been in there as well. Friends is like a
But did you watch that at the age of 12 though?
yeah. Like
I watched-
Recess
Who
was
didn't?
Recess. I think I normally watched before going to school, and then I think Friends was generally after school.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm from a later era, so I watched Friends back on TV.
Yeah.
Don't you give
You're
me that
younger
sass
than
now,
us.
Sassy Cass. Come on.
I told you I'm choosing violence today.
Yeah.
I will
Choose
definitely
violence
fight
all
your
day.
violence because I don't tolerate anything. But
Zero tolerance policy.
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think even what my favorite series was growing up was Pokemon. Definitely, I was hooked on Pokemon for
Ooh.
such a
Good.
long
Yeah.
ass
That was
time.
good.
I had the Nintendo Color, then I had the Nintendo DS to just play Pokemon
You
all
see,
day.
that shows your age because I had the Nintendo Game Boy black and white version first because the color wasn't out yet.
The advanced too, and like the
Yeah.
I
Me
even
too.
when I was little, just a little side story, I threw like my grandma's Game Boy Color in a pond. I don't know why, but she was playing Tetris. Like
I'm
with,
surprised
like, the little blocks.
I'm surprised
So-
you're still not grounded.
I was grounded for 24 years. I just got grounded, like I was just done grounded a year.
Okay.
So when I actually moved in, I got ungrounded. It's fine. It's a good thing. The basement is like dark and
The only
okay.
thing I would say about Pokemon, just to get onto that, so I was generally only a fan of the first and the first mainly. I didn't mind too much the second. Is it evolution or whatever? No, what's the second generation? That's the word I'm looking for. Of Pokemon. After that, I mean, there's things like I don't know actually what they're called, but they're like mop height or something like that, and it is literally like a floating mop now, and you're like,
yeah.
what the hell
They're
is
so
this?
good.
It's not.
They're so good.
It's not creative. Like the
They
first
lost creativity. Yeah.
the first 1 and 2 were like all right, and then after that, I kind of feel like they lost it.
So do you not play Pokemon Go then?
No.
I got banned on Pokemon Go.
Can I just
You
say?
got banned on Pokemon
Yeah,
Go?
yeah.
How do
Yeah,
you
yeah,
even
yeah,
get banned on Pokemon
like,
Go?
Like where I live, it's like 6 streets and that's it. So there's no real Pokemon, and
Yeah.
I'm freaking lazy. So I bought like a subscription to play like all around the world with my spoof account, and they
Oh.
finally got to me, and now I'm banned.
Can
and
I-
it's legit. But I can't disagree with that, but it still sucks.
Yeah.
Like I think the thing with Pokemon Go is you can sometimes only find Pokemon in like a certain area, which
Yeah.
is freaking bullshit. So I needed to go to America to find certain Pokemon. I don't have the money to go to America and find Pokemon.
So
I'm
you had a
nerd, but not a
VPN?
complete
Yeah.
idiot. I'm not buying a plane ticket for 800 euros to fly over to America to find a rare Pokemon.
Catch a
there.
Magikarp.
Yeah, gotta catch them all.
Can I just say, so whilst we're talking about Pokemon Go, is I saw a news article this week where I think it was 2 LAPD officers were sacked from their job or fired
For playing Pokemon Go.
for playing Pokemon Go because someone asked for backup because of a robbery, and instead the 2 police officers decided to chase a Snorlax that they were trying to catch for 20 minutes. I thought that was. I mean,
They were like,
Obviously-
Gary, fuck this
Yeah.
shit. There's a Snorlax there.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
go for
We
it.
gotta get the
Don't
Snorlax.
obviously bad, but at the same
Wow.
time, kind of brilliant that someone's gone to
Also
that
funny
length.
as Yes.
But
Wow.
How would they figure out? I would be like, oh shit, we were stuck in traffic, and then it'd be later.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's true, right? Like we couldn't go. There's a cat in a tree that
Yeah.
we were trying to get out of the tree.
I would definitely not tell my boss I was catching a Snorlax.
Yeah.
No,
Didn't work,
no.
and I couldn't make it.
I think people are stupid though.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is very
It's just-
entertaining. Thank you for that news article.
Yeah, so I thought I'd just it's a little bit of news to bring in there. That was quite good. So Pokemon, Cass, have you got one for when you were growing up? I also want to kind of throw in Simpsons as well. Simpsons is still
Oh,
goated.
Yeah.
Dexter's Laboratory.
Oh,
Oh,
Powerpuff Girls stuff.
there's so
Oh,
many
yeah, I
freaking
know.
good ones. Like, that's what I mean. Like, I don't, it's so hard because if you think about like when we were growing up, they had TGIF. So we would have, it would be like every Friday night, it was like 4
Thank God it's
hours.
Friday.
Yeah, well, no,
Yeah,
I
thank
knew.
God it's Friday.
So I knew
But
what
it
it
was
was,
the
but it's
same
a
4 shows on every week. So it was like their new episodes.
okay. I didn't know
So
that
it
was
was
a
like Boy
TV
Meets
show.
World,
Oh, right, yeah, Boy
Friends
Meets World.
was on there. God, what else was even on there? I can't even remember. I think The Simpsons were on at that, like in TJIF, and there was something else too. And so it's like you sat down and you watched all of them every Friday. But I think I would have to go with Saved by the Bell
Ooh, yeah, good shot, good
because I
shot.
watched it every day
Yeah,
before school. It was on every day, so I watched 2 episodes and then went to school.
yeah.
That's
I
the
think
thing
so
with
good.
me and like Pokemon though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
I
was
like
my
Lizzie
thing.
McGuire too. I liked
yeah,
that show
there was.
a lot.
It was always difficult because I don't know how it was over there, but over here you had Cartoon Network, which was like your
Yeah.
Dexter's Laboratory, Powerpuff Girls,
Powerpuff
etc.
Girls.
Then you had
Yeah.
Nickelodeon, which was like Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Mhm. I
Was
did love that
Was
show too.
Hey
Hey
Arnold
Arnold
on?
was there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nickelodeon,
Courage the
yeah.
Cowardly Dog
Keenan,
was on Cartoon Network.
Keenan Kel.
Mm,
Who
all
loves
that.
orange soda?
Yeah.
God.
And then you had like
Ugh.
Disney, which was like, you know, your Recess and I don't know
Disney.
What was Boy Meets World on?
That was on
And Saved by the Bell.
ABC. I think it was
Oh, okay. So
ABC
I don't.
or NBC. It was one of those
I
It would have
like
been
general
different for us. So
channels.
I don't know where it was. I don't know what it was with us. I think there was a slightly different one, which was a bit different. Oh, I forgot about Home Improvement. I loved Home Improvement
Yes,
with
Home
Tim
Improvement
Allen.
was so
Oh,
good.
and Al.
That's where we really show
Uh?
generations because I have never seen Home Improvement.
Honestly, Home Improvement is something to.
That's disappointment.
That
You're a disappointment, Fox.
No,
I'm
my mom
sorry.
So-
tells me that
I
every
love
week,
you, but
but
Home
like,
Improvement was so good.
I want to also
generation
throw
thing.
something in here with Home Improvement. So the funniest thing about Home Improvement for everyone in the UK was the middle son, whose name is Randy.
Why?
So Randy in the US is I don't know whether it's still like a popular boy's name, but it's it's a guy's name over there. However, in the UK, Randy means that you're sexually active. It's like I'm Randy, like I want sex. Is so it's a bit of a
too, but nobody seems to care.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Well,
I miss
interesting.
those days with
Yeah.
watching like Sabrina the Teenage Witch and things like that coming home
I
from
did
school.
really like it. Did you watch the new one on Netflix? It
No.
is
Sabrina
not a
the Teenage Witch?
remake. Yes, it's called
Sabrina, isn't it?
Sabrina,
Yeah.
but it is not a remake. It's like a reinvention.
I didn't like that one.
I think it's good. But you can't watch it comparing it to the other one. So like if you read a book and then watch the movie on that book, like you can't really compare them because they're obviously going to be ridiculously different. Um but that's how I looked at it and I thought it was pretty good. It did get a little weird like the last season. But the first 2 seasons were very good. They were worth a
Yeah.
watch. I would definitely watch them. Yeah.
Yeah, I always remember when I was a kid though. I'd like watch what was it, Goosebumps, and there was something on
Goosebumps.
there was something on Nickelodeon as well. I can't remember what it was. It was like stories after.
Are you afraid of the
Are you-
dark?
Yes, Are You
Are
Afraid
you
of the
afraid of the
Dark?
dark?
Yeah.
It was
Oh
so
my god.
good.
They
have a new one. Did you
I
watch that?
no, I didn't even know they had a new
Oh,
one.
it
Horror
is
movie,
good.
right?
It's
Sorry?
good. It's on Netflix.
They have a horror movie too.
Yeah,
Are
yeah.
You Afraid of the Dark?
Oh, did they?
No. Scary
Yes.
stories. Scary stories told in the dark. That's the new one.
Oh, right, okay.
I
The
need to watch that
show
then.
was Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah.
The new ones, both of them are really good. The Scary Stories I literally just watched. I'm pretty sure it came out like 2 years ago or last year. I just watched it like last week and it was for a kids show,
Yeah.
it was creepy.
Oh,
It was definitely creepy.
Goosebumps to me didn't really kind of. It was. I don't know why it didn't really like scare me, Goosebumps, too much. But Are You Afraid of the Dark? Honestly, I'd watch them a bit like I do kind of. Well, no, Phasmophobia I now enjoy like more, but it was kind of that. I'm absolutely terrified, but I have to try and like watch it. But I remember there was an episode where there was something about like the pool got infected with like blood, and like this blood monster like came like would like go around and like kill them, or I don't know, abduct them. That literally gave me, I think, nightmares for about 10 years.
Really?
Yeah.
The one that creeped me out was the Wax Museum one.
Oh yeah.
And that book actually came out when they started doing that, like, flip the book over for an alternate ending or whatever. And so I read both, and the Wax Museum, like the wax people freak me out. Like, so creepy. So I was like, no, that's the only one I think that really creeped me out. I did really like those books though. I liked the Camp Nowhere one. I think that was my all-time favorite.
This is a thing where I read all of the Goosebumps books, but never seen any.
The new movies are pretty good. Jack Black's in them in 1 and 2. The new Goosebumps movies, they're pretty good. I really liked those.
Yeah.
I like Jack Black for some reason.
I do too. I think he's kind of weird a little bit, but I do like him a lot.
Like, to go a bit off topic, like a game I fairly enjoyed too was Brutal Legends, and he was in there too. Like, Jack Black was in that game.
All right.
And it's a fun game. Yeah, it's a really fun game. You should check it out. I don't know if it's on PC, but it's an older game.
I always loved his him in School of Rock.
Yes, I was thinking that. I think that's my favorite movie that he's in. Is School of Rock. I love that movie. Yeah, it's so good.
But anyway, what's TV shows now, or kind of as an adult?
It's so hard for me to like keep it on one genre for that. I like Breaking Bad very much. I watched that 3 times. The one that I haven't seen that many people say I'm crazy is what's that movie again? Prison Break.
Yeah.
I've never seen that one.
I can't with you two. Do you live under a rock?
I've never seen Prison Break either.
5 episodes of The Walking Dead, and I don't like.
Never seen Walking Dead.
I don't like The Walking Dead, and you can change my mind, but people say, well, it's getting better after the first season. No, well, I've tried, but I can't do it.
Oh my God.
The first season is not fire.
What? Did you watch it, or were your eyes closed?
I fell asleep 3 times. That says a
lot. Maybe you shouldn't watch it when you're tired.
And it was on a Saturday when I was completely awake.
No, that's a lie.
He was on drugs, though.
Lies.
What?
I said he was on drugs, though.
Right. He was drunk.
Heroin isn't a drug in my eyes.
No, The Walking Dead is phenomenal. It does get weird after like season 5 for like 2 seasons, and then it comes back and it's fantastic. It's good. You have to watch it though, because they unravel so many things periodically through the show. And if you miss those little tiny like nuggets that they leave for you, then you're just lost. And maybe it's not good for you.
That's why I don't watch series like that.
Because you don't want to pay attention.
No, because I'm on my phone, or you ask me stuff, and I have to react.
That's
and
true.
I miss those
That's
little
true.
nuggets.
We're on Discord, like typing constantly.
No, it's actually a good point. Is why do you think it takes TV shows so long to kind of get into? So I'm thinking, because I don't watch TV that much. I'm trying to like finish off. I'm horrible for actually getting into a TV show and then getting like 3/4 of the way through the seasons and then just stopping, even though I'm really enjoying it. It's normally
I have 7 or 8 of those. So yeah, I know what you mean.
My problem is it's normally because I can't like game when I go down to my parents for Christmas. So I normally go, I'll stop and I'll watch the rest of the season when I go down, and then something happens and I don't watch it for like that week that I'm down with my parents, and then I kind of forget to like pick it up. But you know, it's like Game of Thrones. I've still got to finish, so I'm on season 7.
Oh, don't even watch season 7. I'll tell you what happens, and you'll be happy.
No. So
Like,
you do
don't
not
watch
want to
it.
be
It's
that person.
terrible.
So
terrible.
It's not terrible.
It is terrible.
So
it is
no.
terrible. Yeah.
So I know like roughly what happens anyway, but
Oh, okay.
I still like to watch it because I've got like that far like through
Right.
it. But I agree. Like when I tried to watch season 1, it was so difficult to like get through it because it was a lot of dialogue rather than action, and I kind of wonder why they don't go more action to get you in and then kind of fill it in maybe a little bit more toward more with dialogue towards the end of maybe the season 1 or whatever.
I think because they need, like, Game of Thrones had a solid story.
Yeah.
Like, and it needs to be like a solid story to get attached to people. They need to build it up. But then they kind of lacked for me. Like, the ending was meh. It wasn't really good, but it wasn't also really bad.
The thing that I've heard about, like, obviously the ending and like it not being, obviously it's well kind of publicized that it's not that it's not that it's not a good ending is what I was going to say. And I feel like this kind of happens with quite a lot of TV shows, is that what I see is they build up at the beginning. So like it might be the first 2 seasons are like a build up kind of to like the middle, which is like the main action, which is the same as you do in like movies. And this happens quite often with movies as well. As then there's like, so with TV, there's then like 6 seasons of, or 5 seasons of, 5.5, let's say, with Game of Thrones, of middle kind of action pack, and kind of it's still like building on the story, but it's really good. Everyone's like kind of buzzing talking about it, and then they do like 2 or 3 episodes to like finish it, and it's like, why is the end such a small like timeline? It should like expand it out a bit. Like
the thing for me is like, I think, and this is my opinion, Game of Thrones wasn't bad, but I think it's way too overhyped. So everybody got watching it. Like Game of Thrones for me, like the dragons and stuff, that's what pulled me into the series. But I don't know. I would watch it again, but like it isn't worth paying a lot of money for, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. I always go like, would I watch this movie in the theater? And it's like 99% of the time, no.
Well, with Game of Thrones, it's different because it had so much hype because it was a book series. And the reason that it was the way it was in the show was because the author of the books actually helped create and produce the show on HBO. So his whole book, and I only got through the first 2 books because my brain was going to explode. But Paul read all of them, loves them, along with everybody else that I've ever known that has read them. They're amazing books. But the way the books are is each chapter is a different person's like story. So sometimes they go back in time and talk about how they got where they were. Sometimes they're in the present. And you're literally just like following this whole storyline from other people's perspectives. And so the show really shows that, I think, pretty well. It bounces back and forth, more like I would think of like a soap opera almost. It's like it's not just like a movie would be kind of from one person's perspective. It goes through like all of these different characters, and then they introduce new ones. So I think originally the hype with the show was that all the people that read the books were so hyped up. The problem with the last season is the book wasn't written.
Yeah.
He still has not written the book. So they kind of just like fumbled through making it up as they went. And like you said, I feel like it was 6 seasons of this whole buildup and this amazing storyline and everything that happened. And then they closed it down in half a season. And it was like, I was so hype. And then it's like, oh, like that's all I get. That was it.
For me, all excitement was in one episode.
Wow.
That's where I talked about. No. All the excitement that it builds up, it was like, with like with like the dead army and stuff. It's like gone in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Right.
And I think it was way too easy and too rushed. that's what I thought. That's where I was disappointed about. I think they could have done it way bigger because the series in its whole was like massive, like
Right.
hyping everybody up, showing this background story, showing how he got influenced and evolved character towards like the series, and then it got like rushed almost. And I think like coming back to like the problem that we can wait on stuff. That's what's happening now too, because they started the movies, and then afterwards they went like, oh shoot, it's not finished yet. So the author didn't had a writer's block for like a year, so he couldn't finish the last book to even finish
No,
how.
I think it's done. I think the book is already written, and I don't think he's gonna release it until he's gonna die. Because
I think this book is way better than the
like
movie.
30 books. Since that last book for Game of Thrones that came out, the 6th book, he's released a crap ton of books that have nothing to do with the Game of Thrones. They're like all spin-off books.
So
And it's like, what?
I was going to ask about that. So the new, was it House of Dragon or whatever that's coming out, which is the prelude? Is that the right term?
Oh my gosh.
To it?
Yeah.
Has he written it? Has he written a book for that? And they're going, or are they just making something up and going for it?
I do not know. So,
I don't know
KP
either.
would be the one to ask. I can get him up here and I can ask him real quick. I'm not sure. He does follow all that stuff. Like he's waiting for this book. He was interested in reading some of the other books because they do sound good. But he's like livid that this book has not been like released or written or whatever because it is such a good series. And the way he writes, like the show does no justice to his writing. His writing is just amazing. Like it is a form of art. And
Don't
if
you
you get to read it, you're going to need to focus and it's hard, but that first book, like my brain hurts from reading it because I don't read books like that. The books I read are like, stupid comedy romances or, action series, whatever. But this was a completely different storyline and way of writing. And it took me a while to get through because my brain doesn't work as well as like some other people's with that jumping around. But I was just in awe with how it was written and how he described each character. So, it's definitely something to read if you like to read. I don't know if you guys
don't
do,
you
but
think it's hard for like a movie maker to make movies as good as a book?
Oh,
I
yeah.
think
Yeah.
because I think like a mind of a author and a mind of a movie maker are two different things.
Yeah.
Like
Well, the other thing is
I can maybe direct a book, but I cannot write a book. So that's a whole different
the other issue is that like we were talking on the previous episode, was it's so difficult to direct and produce a movie which captures a 400-page book, let's just say, in a 2-hour like session. Ideally you would kind of have that extended over like probably 6 hours to like even do it like a reasonable amount of justice, but you can't, because then no one's going to go and watch a 6-hour long movie.
Yeah, you could easily fix that if you have like a movie that's like 3 hours. They did that with the last book of Harry Potter too.
Yep.
Although you said that you said that you only have an attention span of 2 hours, I think, on the last podcast.
Yeah,
I do agree. That's what he said. I heard it. I heard it.
I have an attention span of like a housefly, so I can only watch like 1.5, 2 hours. But if they would make like a movie and then a part 2 of that significant movie, so it covers the whole book, I would be fine with it as long as it's like 1.5, 2 hours. But I wouldn't be fine with like a 4-hour long movie because that's way too long for me.
So my question would then be is it not better for people who are going to recreate books to do it as a, obviously depending if it suppose if it's a series rather than just one singular book, is it better for them to do it as a TV series rather than a movie? So
That's a good question. I
99%. Sorry.
That's okay. I kind of think if they did it that way for the Game of Thrones for that last season where they cut it into 2 seasons,
Yeah.
I feel like it wouldn't have been as much of a letdown. But then the problem is if you do that for every movie, like every book that like every book could be made a miniseries. It definitely, hands
Yeah.
down, because there's so much detail in books versus movies. But then you would run the risk of people losing interest, I guess,
I
who
think
don't read the book because
I
then they're
think
not
books
as
have a certain
exciting. I don't
charm.
know.
Books have a certain charm on like TV series. So there's a lot more detail in books that I want to read into a book instead of having into a movie. Like if I watch an action movie, I'm here for the loud noises and the explosion. You know what I mean? And
Are you
I'm
a
not
cat?
there for. That's not an explosion, but.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's just
Oh
close
yeah,
as
we
I got.
forgot fireworks. We had
Fireworks.
fireworks, remember?
But the thing is, like, I think that's the charm of a book too, where you have like little background stories on if their clothes are yellow or red. I think that's like that should be like little details in a book because that makes a book for me. If it like the same as why I love the Harry Potter series because she J.K. Rowling described the characters perfectly, and I don't care in a movie what he wears, but in a book I'm like nice. I can vision what he looks like. That's what I want in a book. I need to have my own story, like in my head. That's why I read a book to create like a full blown story in my head versus
So
like a movie.
the series I'm thinking about that was books is Pretty Little Liars. So they did do that with the Pretty Little Liars books, but it was like each book was one season. So they were able to stretch it and they were able to put, add obviously their own flair into each one. But then, yeah, the Pretty Little Liars, there's like 14 books or something. And so at some point, they got in the show, I think they got stuck with it being repetitive because in the books it does get repetitive, but it's using like different people and like different scenarios, but then you would be watching it and you're like, "Oh, like that I already kind of watched that." And it's not as exciting. Um but it was really good for a certain amount of time. And I think that that's how it would be with a lot of books is like the True Blood series. They completely changed it. After book 1, so I don't know if you ever read them. They're called the Sookie Stackhouse series. It's like a vampire. It's a show on
Yeah, I know what
HBO.
it is.
It was the show was very good for the first season. The first season and the first book were almost spot on. Like very, very close, which there's very few shows that or movies that I can tell you from books that are that close. And that one was close. Then after that, the second season, it was like parts of the book into the show, but then they kind of just spun it the way that they wanted it to, which then changed every season after that, didn't follow the books, and everything was different. Um, so then you run the risk of like people being unhappy with the show because it doesn't match the books. So is it really worth going down that alley versus just kind of making a movie or making a series of movies like Harry Potter did with each book making it into a movie? I would prefer that because books like, Harry Potter, they did a very nice job of making it
Definitely.
with the highlights, I
I
guess, of the book,
I think
but it's
the
not enough.
good thing on a Harry Potter series is that it turned out more grim the way the later it came, and that's what it's good about that. Like the only thing that really doesn't do it is The Witcher. I've watched The Witcher, and that really doesn't follow everything that happened in the books, which I read
That's a
too,
book
and that's a
series?
good thing.
I didn't know that.
It's a book series. It's a game. It's a
Oh.
game. First there were books. It was a Russian book. It was translated. Then it was a game, like 3 games, and now came the series.
Oh.
So that's what I'm really happy that they didn't follow the same thing because I don't really mind. It's about a guy, Geralt, who is having like superhuman strength. He's basically a mutant made to defend people. and he fights monsters. I don't care what he fights as long as it's cool for me.
Me too.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Very interesting.
I was also going to say, kind of thinking about like Game of Thrones as such. Do you think that because it? Well, I'm going to say this, but obviously I haven't watched all the series, but I'm pretty sure that they kept the same number of episodes per series. Because you were kind of saying like, oh, well, I know you said like if you have 14 books and you're trying to create 14 series, yeah, maybe that's a bit too long. But could you make? Do you think they're a little bit too scared, or why do you think they don't make that last season? Let's say if they're going to go, that last season is the ending, but we think it might be a little bit short. Why don't they just add like another 2, 3, 4 episodes? You know, make it like a season and a half long, let's say, if you know what I mean. Just like stretch out a little bit.
Money and contracts. Because I guarantee you they had them contracted for so every season on HBO of I think 99% of their shows is 12 episodes. I think that's their max for every season.
Right.
So then if their contract is 12 episodes per season, they would have to recontract them for those extra, 3 episodes or 4 episodes or whatever. So if they were going to do that, they would probably just do a new season. But I think that they were scared about making a new season after season 7 and having it either tank
Yeah.
or having the book come out and completely ruin what direction they had gone in, if that makes any sense. Since 7 came out prior to the book coming out. So I feel like maybe HBO was just trying to take like the like cautious road, if that makes sense, and not doing that, because if they didn't end it where it was, then it would have just been open. But if they never revisited it, like if they had to cancel it for whatever reason, it would be just complete chaos. People would be losing it. So I don't know. I would just assume money.
Yeah, I guess you're right. The other thing I was going to say, so thinking of the is prelude the right term for it?
Like trailer, preview trailer.
Well, I'm thinking of the House of Dragon, which is coming out. So the prequel as such. Yeah, that's the word I was more kind of looking for Game of Thrones. Because we were talking about this last week, and I was saying, well, who does it kind of cover? There was kind of 2 questions. Was one, do you like the idea of spin-offs from like movies? Obviously, well, I'm saying movies because generally you have the books which either get made into a TV show or movie. So I'm thinking you had Star Wars, which was obviously the movie series, but then they spun it off into TV series like The Mandalorian. Then you got MCU, which was movies, but then they spun it off into like WandaVision and Hawkeye, things like that. So it was kind of like, what do you think to those like spin-offs where they turn them into more like a TV series? And also, do you think they should do more spin-offs? So for me, like I look at Lord of the Rings, a movie series that I love a lot, but I kind of go, I want to, that's the, oh God, this is going to be bad. That's the second war with Sauron. So I'm like, I want to see the first, like the build up to the first war.
Where they created the rings?
Yeah, where they created the rings. Sauron was a general in Morgoth's army, or I can't remember what his name is. There was an he was even more evil as such than Sauron. So it's like I'd love to see him. There's like so much more, and I think in Game of Thrones, I'd love to see the kind of build up of the Mad King as well.
Don't you think that will ruin your like imagination of what's happening? I would be like with which one? With the Harry Potter series, for instance. I'm okay. Like if it's a good movie like Fantastic Beasts, then I'm fine. But it could ruin it too. Like especially with I think the Hawkeye and the WandaVision movies spin-offs are okay.
They're
But
okay.
they're okay, but they're not as good as like the Hulk but those were movies though. This is a TV series.
Yeah, it's a little different.
I think if the Hulk would have been TV series, I wouldn't have liked it anyways. But it's just because it's a movie and it's sentiment. That's why it's good.
No, I kind of like the idea of kind of seeing where it came from. Like you saw the story of what's happening like in the present, but then you are very curious as to how they got there. I would love to see the Mad King, like the whole story with the Mad King. I think that would be a phenomenal like build up like whole series. Um with Lord of the Rings, they had this spinoff with The Hobbit. And I can tell you the first time I read the Hobbit book, I was like, "Oh my god, this is the greatest book." And I'd never read The Lord of the Rings and I
Yeah.
hadn't even seen the movies and I was like, "Oh my god, I want to read this book over and over and over again." And the first movie was good. It wasn't like I was expecting, but it was good. And then after that it just kind of for me it just kind of died. Like it wasn't as great. But I thought those were done pretty well, for what they were. But I do, even though it might ruin some of what you think about the series, like if it's not up to par, I still think it would be a cool way to see it. I did not really care for WandaVision either, to be honest. I could have skipped the whole series until the last episode when everything came together and been completely happy. Like that could
Same
have
with
been a
Hawkeye
movie
for
for
me.
me. Yeah. Hawkeye, the same thing actually. Yeah, like the last couple episodes were like really good. But then you look at things like The Mandalorian and you're like, "Oh my god, like
That was really good.
that was really good. It was so well done."
So, have you
Which is
seen
so
the
weird.
Loki one? The
I
Loki
liked
series.
the Loki one, but it was weird and to me it did not give me what I wanted from a Loki story. So it
He.
gave like a whole nother like universe and
Mhm.
like idea, but it wasn't what I wanted from him. Like I
Yeah.
wanted his story. I
Mhm.
wanted to see him growing up and being mischievous and stuff.
I
It
agree.
wasn't enough.
That was the bit I was going to say. Do you think that like the WandaVision, Hawkeye, Loki as such haven't done as well almost because it's not it's almost like it's almost like they're trying to, instead of just doing a separate movie about them, they're trying to split it up into TV series, and they're not showing you like the progression into the character. You know, I'm kind of thinking, you know, you look at Sauron, there's almost, unless you obviously read the books, you know, and even then there's still quite a bit of like information which is like missing. There's no like real build up into his like character. He just kind of like appears almost. And I wonder whether that's when they're kind of more successful, is because they build up like a character's kind of narrative before that, you know, sort of.
You know what I just thought of? One really fire example of that is the Halloween movies. They gave you the like series of Halloween movies with what's her name in it?
Yeah, I can't think of it.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. Ah!
I'm blanking
It's
either.
gonna come to me, but with her, Jamie Lee Curtis,
Yes.
with
Yeah.
her in it. When I would only even think I was born when they came out, but they gave us the series of that, and then the one movie that showed him growing up. I don't know. It was made in like 19. It was made in like
Yeah.
2018 or something, 17,
It's
something like that.
Yeah.
Rob Zombie, was it?
Amazing. Showing him growing up and the progression of his character and him slowly going insane or being insane and just showing it more. That was so well done. And I felt like almost like pleased with how I understand like where he came from. But then you do see other movies that are like, that wasn't good. But I almost think it should be a movie, not a TV series, depending on it. Like a Loki movie would have been amazing,
Yeah.
showing us
Do you
him growing
do you
up.
know do you know what I think the feeling behind that is. Because a TV series, like Skel says, I will pause that midway through and just go and do my own thing. Whether it's like a movie, you can pause a movie half an hour in and say, let's go do my laundry now. Because you will sit for the movie and watch the
Right.
whole thing, except for like a TV series. If you binge it, you will probably get the same feeling, but because it's like 45 minutes or to an hour and then another episode, that kind of interruption gives you like the feeling that it's like parting, so you can do things in between and then you don't get the full story that way. Maybe that's the thing. And I think
Yeah.
another thing about it too is like money.
Oh yeah,
Because
money.
because Loki, the Loki series was really big thing on Disney Plus. I got like advertisements everywhere of like, come watch the new Loki now, and I'm like, I think it's okay, not
I,
really good. It
no.
was entertaining.
Yeah,
Do
but it
not get me
wasn't what you
wrong, but
wanted.
it wasn't what I thought of it. You had like the whole Thor side, which is like an angry god with like a hammer and stuff, and I was like looking forward to like a Loki movie too, with like he is being mischievous and like doing his own stuff. That would have been far better than the series.
So, piggybacking off of the Loki and the Thor thing, um, did you watch Ragnarok on Netflix? That
Yes.
is one series that blew my mind. Now, I can't say that I was 100% in it every moment of the entire show because at being English speaking and watching a show in another language,
Danish, was it, or Finnish?
I think
One of
it's
the two.
Finnish. I think it
Oh
was
yeah,
Finnish.
yeah. I've
Um,
watched that too. Yeah.
and it wasn't subtitles. They had English overlapping. It is so hard for me to completely immerse myself in because of the translation. Sometimes it is literally so stupid what they say. Like I know that this character did not say, "You're stupid." That's not what they said. That's not what they said. And I know sometimes the translation is bad and it's not always going to translate. So I understand. But that I feel like was what I was looking for. That
Mhm.
was the interest that I wanted because it really shows Thor and Loki and where
Yeah.
they came from and how they got to where they were. And it shows Loki being this devious little sly guy. And I was like, this is what I wanted. And that's where they should have really went with the Loki story. They could have made a whole series like they did Thor, like they do Iron Man with Loki. People would watch it. They would
Yeah.
flock to see that.
Don't
Because
get me wrong,
especially
Tom.
Tom Hiddleston's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
So
yeah.
like
That's what I
you're
wanted
going to
to
watch
say. Yeah.
anything that is in. So I don't know, it's crazy. Crazy.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, and the other thing, it was interesting how you just said that about Ragnarok and the kind of subtitles and trying to get into that sort of thing. So it's good to kind of like spin off into what I was going to say was, why do you think something like that or something like Squid Game like does so well when it's kind of complete? Well, I mean, Ragnarok is kind of part of, it's
Kind of part of the Marvel
yeah,
universe, but not
kind.
really like it's
Yes,
a
yeah,
spin-off.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Squid Game is completely like random, and so I have to be careful what I say here because I don't know. Uh, so I managed to somehow speak to some quite senior people within Netflix. Well, they were they
Look
dis-
at
Look
you.
at you, divine being.
What? Okay.
I'm making that sound way more important. They were doing it. They were doing a bit of a like speech sort of thing, which I happened to be at, and they were saying that what they do is in the office they have like a kind of a bet as to what they think's going to be the most like the best series or the best show of that year, and they said that they absolutely did not think that a Korean like TV program like Squid Game was ever going to take off. They thought it would do well in Korea, but they didn't think it was going to become such a big thing like it did across the world. And I was going to say, why do you think like that is something?
Surprises me. That really surprises me because, I mean, just think about how many crazy movies they make about stuff like that. Like, there was that movie, where they would, like, hunt people. Like, it was like a comedy slash not comedy movie where instead of, like, hunting animals, they literally had a game of hunting
You mean
people.
you mean oh,
Uh,
flipping.
Lots of, like, famous people were in that
Yeah, with
movie.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Yes. Um, God,
Hunger
what was that
Games.
movie? No, 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 not that movie.
Oh, not
No,
that.
no, no. It was a comedy, and it had,
Comedy.
what is the
Hunger
girl's
Games was a
name
comedy too, right?
in Princess Diaries? She's the long hair. Jane Hathaway. What's her first name?
And
Anne
Um,
Hathaway. Anne Hathaway was in it. It was literally like this group of very, very rich people, and they find these other people. I don't remember if they were like drug addicts, like scum of the earth people, but they literally fly them to this remote location and leave them in the woods. And then these rich people go and hunt them for sports. And it
okay.
was like
finish them.
oh my God, it was such a good movie. But like, it's that kind of stuff. Like, people are nuts. And we love to watch things like that. So I am not surprised at all that Squid Game took off like it did. Um, we used to watch, it may not be a thing for you guys. You may not know anything of what I'm talking about, but it was like literally the funniest show. It was called MXC, I think. And it was an Asian, I don't know if it's Korean or Chinese or Japanese, I don't know, but it was like an Asian game show where they did like obstacle courses, they did games, but it had
We
English
we had something
overlaying.
like that, but it's called Takeshi's Castle.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what
what
I
I
was
was
thinking.
thinking.
Is it like a comedy? Like they're making
It
like
was
they
pretty
say
comical.
funny things, but that these people are not actually saying these things?
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Oh
It's
Takeshi's
God,
not.
Castle was
it
kind
is
of like that, yeah.
so funny. And they would have these like crazy games. Like the one I remember like it was yesterday. It was these people in these giant hands. They're literally in a hand and
She's
they're
talking about the
basically
same.
Yeah.
beating each other up. But the things that the commentators are saying are so funny. And like that I feel is like where the Squid Game like I looked at Squid Game and I was like, "Oh my God, like this is like that except it's the opposite. It's like the like negative side, the like killing people side." So I watched it for that basically, and I thought it was great. But I don't like killing people. Some people
I
watch
Yeah,
it
do.
because they like killing people.
just put that out there.
I don't. PSA, don't kill people.
Well, I do. But no, Squid Game was really good. And it was just because it's absurd. That's why people
Yeah,
watch it.
yeah.
It's so
I don't.
over the top with like
Yeah.
regular games that everybody can play, but
Mhm.
still is exciting because people can die. Is that
Yeah.
I don't really the background story of that with like with like the man meh for me, but like the games and the
Yeah.
way it
Yeah.
unfolded and stuff like that. That's what it was about for me. Like it was a big hype in the Netherlands too, and I'm always late to hypes. I Everyone finished that one already, and I was like a month late. But
Yeah.
it was still enjoy. I still enjoy that series
Oh
because
yeah.
it's like you. It's so not close to reality that it's fun to watch. I
Yeah.
feel bad for watching people die and enjoy it, but at the same time, I'm so glad this happens in a series and not in real
You
life.
mean are you sure? Because like you watch my stream and alls I do is die.
Yeah, but
So
that's like comedy for me too, because
I mean
because you only shoot walls, and that's
that's
pretty funny.
not true. I shot 9 people today.
Did they
Okay?
There you
die?
go.
7 of them died.
See,
There you go.
that's
Yes.
not like the same.
I want to say something before I tell you about my series. That's my favorite adult series. Um, I want to say that I am very disappointed by the lack of advertisement for Ragnarok. I didn't even know about it until I would flip through Netflix and I'm like, what the hell is Ragnarok? Like what is that? Like it's not the Thor Ragnarok because
Yeah.
that's a movie. Like it's not that. I don't know what this is, so I never turned it on. And then randomly, you know how Netflix, like if you're hovering, it'll play a video.
Yep.
Randomly, it played a video of it when I was like on my phone, not scrolling, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And so then I Googled it, and I was like, "This is what I've been waiting for. Like I've been waiting for this story." And so I watched it, but I can tell you I know like a handful of people that have seen it.
Hmm.
And that's it. Like nobody has seen it. And it's like it is so well done.
Do you know why? It's
Why?
because people don't like to watch a series
Like
or movie
foreign
in another
series.
language,
Yeah.
in a foreign
That's
language.
true.
I
It's
the
true.
same thing with Korean. I wouldn't watch a Korean movie because it bothers the heck out of me that I can't understand it, and I don't want to put it in English. I want to subtitle it English because I think it works better. Hiya. That's the only thing I know. It's not even English. The thing with the Finnish thing for me is that it's really close to German and Dutch because it's a Gaelic language as well. So
Right.
I could understand some bits of it vaguely, not every bit, but I enjoyed that one. But I'm never putting it like La Casa de Papel. I put that one in Spanish. I hate the one in English because it doesn't sound the same. The lip dubs are not the same in English, and I can see him talk for like half a second later, and I'm thinking like, this is annoying me. I'm putting it back into
Right.
Spanish.
I can't stand that. That drives me
So
crazy.
a lot of people do that too, and because they can't understand Spanish or they don't want to take the time to like watch it in Spanish, they are not watching it. That's what it is.
I agree. So I wanted to say this earlier because we did talk about this, but so my favorite show as an adult that I mean, there's been many, many shows that I love and I will repeatedly watch. Like right now, I'm loving Cobra Kai and I've watched it multiple times. The one show that I would say is my all-time favorite is definitely The Gilmore Girls, which you guys, neither of you have seen it, but it's a like rom-com almost.
Right.
But it's about a mom and a daughter. The mom had the daughter when she was 16 and her family is like rich beyond belief, but she hates it there.
Right.
She always feels like she's not good enough or whatever. So she's an independent girl. She leaves her parents at 16 and has this baby. And it is all about, so they give like little bits of information, but it starts out from her perspective as an adult with a 16-year-old daughter
Right.
or 15 or 14.
Yeah.
And it's just about the two of them and they go back and forth and they are fast talking and drink a lot of coffee. And it's just one of those shows that you can put on in a background and you can giggle, you can laugh. They have some great stuff in there, some just like feel good stuff. And there is always problems too. Stuff happens, but it's not a like down bad show. It's always good. And so I watched that. It's 7 seasons long, and I've watched it probably 13 times, all the way through.
Yeah.
And it's on TV sometimes, so if I'm doing something, like, while I'm setting plans or doing something for work, I'll have that on in the background because it's mindless. Like, I can hear it, and I know exactly what's happening in almost every episode because 'cause I've seen them so many times that I don't have to pay attention,
Yeah.
but I can still hear it, I can still laugh and giggle. And I actually got my sister involved in it and she loves it. The lady across the street watches it and loves it and her daughter loves it. It's just one of those shows that you can really get into. But what they did, and this is where I was going to connect with what we were talking about earlier, is they brought it back for kind of not a revival, but the last episode of the last season was in 2006. So when I graduated high school was last season, and that's actually when I started watching the show. I didn't even know about it before then. And I watched all the seasons and finished the last one live, and it was great. When they brought it back a couple of years ago, they made it 4 hour-and-a-half episodes as like each season. So it was like fall, winter, summer, spring. And they were phenomenal. Like, I can tell you they were great. It wasn't exactly like it used to be, but my biggest problem is that I went from watching a 43-minute episode, because that's how, with commercials, that's
Yep.
how long it was, to now it was an hour and a half, and it just felt wrong.
Yep.
It felt like it was too much. And that's coming from me, who will preach this show to everybody because it's wonderful. You can watch it with teenagers. Like, Luca loved it. He used to sing the song all the time. It's like such a great show. But I was unhappy with the length of it because it was too long. You
You
can
rather
take
have 12 episodes of 45 minutes than instead of 6 of 1.5 hours?
Yeah, I would. I would have liked it if they would have, I mean, even if it was an hour, they just extended it, 20 minutes. That would have been better. And I think you still would have gotten like the full gist without
Yeah.
overdoing it. Whereas then I felt like I was watching a movie, and then it was a series of movies, but they weren't quite long enough to be a movie. It was just an awkward feeling. And I felt like it was too much in there of that. So, I mean, that was my only disappointment, but it was good. So what I ended up doing after I watched it the first time, the second time I watched it, I stopped each episode at a specific point and then started the next time with the rest of that episode and moved on. And I felt like it was much better. It flowed better like it used to versus it was like insane long. But those are really good too. I would definitely suggest, if you need just like a thing to put on, start it because it's good. It's
Yeah.
definitely good.
No,
Yep.
good.
No.
It's not. Paul has watched all of them. Okay, he
No,
likes
Paul
it.
has to. You
good.
chain him up to watch it.
I do
Fine.
not.
He literally
Chain him
showed
up.
me his ball and chain the other day, so you cannot say me any. Tell
He
me
was
anything
not supposed to show anybody that.
else. Yeah.
It's tucked under his chair for a reason.
So,
Yeah.
so what I'd say is, I'm going to say something right now to get some audience participation rather than leaving right to the end, and then we'll just end with like a little bit of something. So, for anyone,
It's you, mysterious man.
hey,
I'm
I'm just trying to
excited.
make sure that people like catch this and then try and interact with like the YouTube comment section, because that's what we would like. So anyone listening to this, jump over to YouTube, put a comment in what you'd like to see us talk about in future episodes, but also what is your favorite TV series growing up right now? What would you love to see made into a TV series?
That's
And-
a book currently.
Ooh,
And
that's a good
this is what I'm just going to segue into, is what would you like to see? Your number one choice you've got. What would you love to see made into like a TV series? It doesn't have to be a movie into a TV series. It could be obviously like a build up into something like, as we said, Mad King or whatever with Game of Thrones.
What I would really love for me is that there's a little series about what they're doing now with Harry Potter. Is that J.K. Rowling wrote a lot of books, like the Herbology book and the Fantastic Beasts book. I would love to see like either a mini-series spin-off or a movie about like the little classes and maybe the background story too of what's happening now. Because I'm really, really addicted to watching Harry Potter stuff because I still think it's magical all around. Change my mind for that. What I would add to like your statement, like I wanna ask the audience too, is what is your favorite length instead of like series and movies?
Like 6 inches, maybe 5 and a
6
half.
inches? Wow, Paul's
Like
a lucky man.
4 and a half,
But like,
maybe. I mean, I don't know
wish
how big
that-
that is,
I
'cause I'm not
wish
gonna
I
measure it.
said it.
How did
I
I know this was going to go down there? 11 inches, folks. 11 inches is my favorite.
17
Well, then I'm
inches.
10 and a half short. Dang it. Yeah, but like, how long?
Yeah.
I can't say this properly. Now. What's the duration of a movie session?
About
Good one.
30 minutes in the bedroom.
30 seconds for
30
some
minutes
people.
in the bedroom?
Oh, yeah.
That's 29 minutes and 50 seconds longer than what?
Yeah.
No,
So
but
yeah. So you're
okay.
asking what's the perfect duration of an episode of a TV series or a TV show within a series to watch?
yeah.
Yeah. That's a good shout, because it'd be interesting, because we were talking about previously about the YouTube kind
And
of
how
now.
long do you even how long do you even want the episodes of the podcast to be?
Yeah.
Do you like it to be 1 hour and 15 minutes like we usually do? Or do you like it like 1 hour? Do you like it 2 hours? Let us know, because that's important for us
That's a good
too.
shout as well.
Because we can literally ramble all day if you'd like us
Oh
to.
yeah, yeah.
We have busy schedules, so maybe we are not even being able to. But if you wanna listen to us 2 hours again, I see you on that lake down in America. I see you down there. Let's go.
Yeah,
If you want to watch 2 hours.
I want to say it's Kentucky. I'm sorry if
Kentucky.
you're listening and it's not in Kentucky, but yeah,
We still love you. We've seen that.
Yeah, we do. We love everyone who's downloading these regularly. We see who our fans are, and it's much appreciated.
We honestly get excited by that too.
But I think for me, I do think it's something around the Lord of the Rings, that kind of whole period between. Well, that is kind of. I don't know whether it's between the Hobbit and. No, it's not in between. The Hobbit was after the First War.
No. The Hobbit was during the First War. Like Bilbo was getting the ring, didn't he? During the First War, like Bilbo, the one that's going.
Bilbo hadn't found it yet. It's after the First War, because of Sauron's already like disappeared, and he kind of, spoiler alert, kind of like reappears, doesn't he? With in the I can't remember what it's called.
Eye.
In the eye, in the. I can't remember the place. But anyway,
Minas Tirith? No.
No. There's like the place where all the orcs come together.
Morgul.
Yeah,
I know,
exactly.
Frustrating.
Anyway, it's after the First War of like men, but it's that I don't even want to like I'm not too bothered about the first like War of Men. It's the before that. I want to see like how Sauron got into Morgoth's like army, and like, you know, there's loads of different creatures. So there's like they're all escaping me now. This is probably because I'm like 2 beers in.
So you want to see it from Sauron's perspective as a kid and how he grew up?
I don't know whether it's I don't think it is Sauron. I think I would like to see a series which is like how Morgoth came to like power, because he kind of came the like dark like lord originally, but then he influenced the like Balrog. So there's like a massive Balrog. There's like a massive spider sort of creature in the like. This is all like lore kind of in. There's like small snippets in like. I think it's the
movie too.
Well, no,
it's in the movie too, right? The big spider.
No. So that's like a child of this like massive, spider is like absolutely massive and nearly kills Morgoth. It's like that powerful. Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like that whole like Morgoth building his army. That like very first war. It's even before the First War of Men. I can't remember what it's called. That kind of like a TV show showing all of that, I think would be so good. Like you said, I'm then almost a little bit happy if I saw Sauron and that whole like piece, that missing piece between the end of that battle and then the First War of Man, which is where Sauron is the like Dark Lord. Such, I know that's probably Lord Voldemort, but I don't mind if there isn't a series between that bit, because that allows my imagination to kind of go after, you know, within that period. But it's that whole like first bit. Tolkien wrote I think it's called the Silmarillion or something. I'm going to butcher it. That's what they want to try and like make into like multiple movies. However, the Tolkien family aren't willing to set it off because they didn't like how the Lord of the Rings and how the Hobbit were portrayed. So, which it's a shame, but and obviously the Silmarillion is not even finished because it's like it's just there's so much there. But that is kind of my whole. I think the thing that I would love to see is that how does Morgoth kind of come about? How does he influence Sauron to become part of his army, the Balrogs, all that sort of thing, and eventually lead up to that final battle where he's defeated, and then kind of end it like at that point. And I'd probably be then happy with how it is. Hi, Cass.
Hi. Sorry, everybody was in the kitchen, so
No
I
what
muted.
about you?
And I was trying to converse with KP a little bit about it because there are so many, I think, that especially because we're avid readers, that we read books that we're like, oh my God, this would be so great. So I have two. The one we talked about last week. So Ready Player One, I said phenomenal book. And the movie was very disappointing in concern with the book. It was very disappointing. If it was standalone, it'd be fine. I think that the book has enough in it that you could make at least a limited series, maybe even an entire season on. And there's a second book. So, and it would be phenomenal. Like the storyline in that book is amazing. So I think that would be a really good series that I would watch. The other one is a series of books that we finished last year. It's called A Court of Thorns and Roses. And the first book, it's a fantasy series. First book is a lot like Beauty and the Beast almost, but way more adult, not Beauty and the Beast. But it's set in like it's like in our world, but it has an other world attached to it that is like
are
hidden.
you the Beauty or the Beast in that story?
Me, Beauty, obviously.
Skell's definitely both.
Yeah, I mean, he's got like
I'm
thing on his face.
A beauty on the outside and a beast in the bedroom.
So
Let's go!
I'm trying to stop myself because you said it's like Beauty and the Beast, but adult version, didn't you?
Way adult, yeah.
And I then wanted to go, so it's Beauty and the Bestiality.
You are a terrible person.
Oh, sorry.
Oh my god.
Isn't that like...
Yes, don't answer that.
Skell, what's that?
I think you should Google it. I think you should Google it.
It's
right now.
Skell, what is
Google it?
It's sex with animals.
Oh, that's
I can't believe you answered him. Make him Google it.
I know what bestiality is. I just wanted him to.
You just wanted to hear him say it. Yeah. So that would be a good series. It would just be fun. And it's like a more adult, so it wouldn't be, kid friendly. So it would be something that you as an adult could watch and enjoy. And it's not like a girly thing. Like Paul loved the books. They were so good. So I definitely think they could cater to that in a series and it'd be fantastic.
By the way, I just figure out now that we completely forgot about the whole Disney revival, like last week. Like the old movies of Disney versus the new ones.
Yeah, but I think you need a whole episode for that because there's a lot into that.
That's true.
Yeah, like
that's
a whole.
We can come back to that later.
Yeah, we can come back to that later. I'm really sorry. I'm gonna have to break my own rule and throw something out there. So, not fantasy wise, I'm gonna have to chuck out something that I would love to see made into a series because it was temporarily for the BBC in the UK. So Douglas Adams, who wrote The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, also wrote a book called Last Chance to See. Now, this is something I would love to do in the future if I ever got like big enough on like YouTube or whatever. It's about he goes around with a guy called Mark Cordine, who's what's the word I'm looking for? A conservationist. So he goes around the world and he finds like animals, and he kind of documents his like travel and his like story about seeing these endangered animals and how humans are affecting them and how we can like kind of protect them and things like that going forward. And he does like he writes a book, and I think there's he wrote it in 1980. I want to say it was 1985, and he did something like 8 different animals. and they made a then TV series in 2005, which was 20 years on, just after Douglas Adams had died. And it was Mark Cordine and a good friend of his, Stephen Fry, who's a presenter in the UK. And they go back and they revisit the places to see like how they're getting on, how things are quite well in almost every sense. The animals even in an even worse position. There's I think a couple which are in a better position. There's one that's actually gone extinct since Douglas Adams has written it. Now,
Oh, really?
yeah, when you actually look online and see how many animals are critically endangered, there's something like 3,000 different animals. And for me, I would love to see someone go around and document all of them, not just like kind of eight, because obviously what he tried to do is get the attention. So he did like rhinos and, there was the Yangtze River dolphin, which has now gone extinct. So kind of more bigger names, but it'd be good to see like you could do that for almost like years and years. Personally, I would love to go around and like do that myself. But
I would definitely be your extra on that one. I love to do that too. Every time it's a segue, but like I really watched it with like an open mouth of astonishment, like the David Attenborough documentary that he put on Netflix. I thought that was so good. I don't know how, but that man has like the best voice for me in the world.
Yep.
It's like soothing, great, and he's like, how old is he? He's like 85?
Oh no, he's over 90 now.
Over 90, and he was still doing that documentary like 2-3 years ago, making it, and you see the passion that he has for his job. Like he doesn't even see it as a job; it's just a hobby for the man, and he's still going strong. He's amazing at doing that. Like that's really a tip of mine. Go watch the documentary of David Attenborough on Netflix.
Yeah.
I think we should do an episode on documentaries because there are so many that I've seen that you guys have seen that are worth talking about. As you were talking about that, I was thinking of the one with Zac Efron, and then I do not remember the other guy's name, but they were going around for different energy conservations all around the world and seeing how different places do different things.
Yep.
And that was really good. That was really good.
I've seen the
KP
one
wanted
from
to
Chernobyl as well.
interject
really
his opinion. He wants to see a watchable Last Airbender. And I agree.
I agree too, but they have put it down where there was like, oh, that one I forgot for TV series. That one was a good one growing up for
The
me
show
too.
was really good.
The show
Yeah,
was really
but
good. And
I mean,
they
if
could
we're going to
with
use real people, they need to make it better.
yeah, with the CGI they can do like a lot now, and I wish it could be like a 4-book series of like what they did in the or 4-book movies. So 4 movies of like the series. They did like earth, water, fire, and air. And that's what they started out doing, but they only got to air and then decided, well, fuck this, I'm out. And I don't know why, because to be honest, I enjoyed the first movie. It wasn't really the best movie, but because I have like my childhood memories on the TV show, I thought it was pretty good. Pretty good, yeah, just okay. Not memorable, but still fun to watch. I have a lot of those actually. There's not much movies that I would be like, this is it. This is the one I always think about and enjoy. So far, that's V for Vendetta and like the greatest series like Ready Player One. No, I'm joking. Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, stuff like that, which is really good. Even maybe that's the worst one too, but Twilight.
So I will chime in on this one. I liked the books. They were very primitive. Like that 1,000%. It's not like they were written like the Game of Thrones. They were not. As a teenager and as like a young adult, I read those and they were good. I thought they were like they gave enough detail. You could see it. The movies I would go with mediocre.
Sorry, but
They were
like
okay.
the stairs between what's her name again? The actress. I always forget her
Kristen
name.
Stewart.
Kristen Stewart.
Yeah, and like Robert Pattinson. That's like laughable tops.
So
Like
bad.
a buddy of mine and I watched it, and we were laughing every time she did
Oh,
that
it's
stare.
so
It was
bad.
so
Well, you
freaking
know what's
hilarious.
funny is she didn't even act in that movie. That's literally how awkward
Yeah.
she is, like
And I s-
IRL.
And I
That's
saw
like
the
her.
CGI of her like petting a wolf, and it was like a guy in a green screen suit, and I laughed like the entire time. I would be
And
like,
you see
"This is
stuff like that, and you're
embarrassing."
like, "Oh my god, now I can't even watch this movie
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I'm seeing her
Yeah.
petting this green
Whenever she
guy."
pets a wolf, I'm like, "Oh, this is a guy again. He's getting pet by Kristen Stewart." That's so
Oh my
funny.
god, that's so funny. Oh, there's the butt.
Yeah, no,
We
yeah.
should just
Yeah.
take it. Can you
Nip
just
it,
like
baby.
That
screenshot that real quick?
beautiful butt there with KP.
Oh, put up the dump truck again. Come on.
Oh,
there's one of the children.
the children. Hi, Luca.
The whacker of hackers.
Yeah.
He likes the hair when it's blue and purple.
Yeah, for those who are listening, Cassie's got the filter on, which is
No, this is my real
no,
everything.
it's definitely
Cassie's
a
got
filter.
a filter on, which
Yeah.
she got rainbow unicorn
Yeah.
hair, and it's
I know.
she
It's so
she thinks
cool.
it's great. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah.
I am the only one that thinks it's great.
Paul paid us to not say anything.
And with
so
that,
we're
that's the
gonna-
end of the episode. We'll see you next week on Friday for another episode of the Two Guys and the Blonde podcast.
He's so annoyed.
Yeah, she's
Love
really
it.
not happy right now.
I don't really care. I think it's cute. So whatever.
She's annoyed, guys. She's
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
But thank you for listening.
Yep.
Tune in every week. We'll be back. And yeah, thank you very much. And we'll see you again soon. Next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.